artexpressionsvinyl.com, and today I want to show you how to make a stencil using the Silhouette Cameo machine. So the first thing we need are some tools. So I've got my paintbrush here, I've got a piece of wood that I've already painted and the paint is nice and dry. That is very important when you're making a stencil. And I've got my paints here as well as my vinyl that I'm going to use as the stencil. So let's go over to the software and get started. All right, so I am in the Silhouette Studio software and I want to make this Life is a Beautiful Ride as a stencil. So if we go over to the store, this is the file I'm using. It is called Life is Beautiful Ride Phrase from Lori Whitlock. And I have already purchased it and have it opened up in my program. So I measured my board and it is 11 by 18. So I went over and drew a box using my Draw a Rectangle button and drew a box that was 11 by 18 just using my mouse to drag it over. So I've got that set. I filled it in gray because I want my board to be gray just to get an idea of what I'm doing. And then I'm going to fit this Life is Beautiful right in it. And I've stretched it down a little bit so it could fit. And I'm just going to center that in the middle using my arrow keys. Okay, and I've got those all together. And now I'm going to center on my mat here. And I am ready to cut. So we'll go over and push our cut button. And we're ready to go. Okay, so we've got our vinyl all cut. We're gonna unload it from our machine and we're all ready to weed it out. And weeding is the most important part when you're using vinyl as a stencil. You're gonna weed it out opposite as you would if you were using the vinyl for a sign or on a project. So we'll get into that in just a second. I wanna talk about what type of vinyl to use. So when you're using vinyl as a stencil, it really doesn't matter what type. You can use permanent or removable or whatever scraps that you have because color doesn't matter when you're using it as a stencil. So one of the concerns is, oh, it's permanent vinyl, it's gonna last forever, it's gonna be hard to peel off my project. But if you're using the vinyl as a stencil, you're only leaving it on for a short period of time. So it doesn't really, it's not gonna stick long enough for the vinyl to adhere permanently. It'll still be easy to pull up. So just make sure your base coat on your board is nice and dry before you apply your vinyl. So let's get into the weeding. I made that box around my project the same size as my board, so it would be easy to lay it on and get it centered. And it's also nice because now I have this nice straight line across the bottom I can use for trimming, and I can save this piece of vinyl for another project. All right. So we've got our border all weeded out. Now I'm going to start by weeding out what we don't want. So So we have all our pieces weeded out where we're going to put our paint. So it's opposite of what you would normally weed. And now we are ready for transfer tape. So I'm going to trim the edges of this. And you can use whatever transfer tape you're comfortable with. But I do want to show you a little trick when you're painting and with the transfer tape. All right, so I'm using our paper transfer tape today in a 12-inch roll. Oops. Just lay that down and make sure we're not getting any bubbles in it. wrinkles. And go over it with our application tool. Just make sure it's nice and stuck down all over. And get all the air out from in between. All right, we'll trim this down. All right, so we've got our piece of vinyl that we're going to use for our stencil, and we are ready to apply it to our board. And remember, I've painted this already and it's nice and dry. You want to make sure it's nice and dry before you put your vinyl over the top. So as you can see, it's the same size as my board, so it's going to be really easy to line up. So I'm just going to peel off our backing paper. And being careful to make sure there's no little pieces of vinyl coming up. You want to make sure all your letters are staying where they're supposed to. And we'll get it lined up here. I like to make this box as well because it leaves a nice wide edge for when you are painting, so you don't get up on places on your board where you don't want it. Okay, so I'm just using my application tool to make sure there's no bubbles in this and it is nice and stuck down everywhere. Okay, and I'm going to peel off my transfer tape now. And here's where my trick comes in. I'm going to get a chunk off and cut it. And I'm going to save this, stick it to my table, and use it to put my paint on when I'm painting, so I don't have to go get a paper plate or whatever. And then when you're all done painting, you can just throw that little piece of transfer tape away, and you've got less mess. All right, so we're just peeling up our transfer tape, making sure all our little pieces of letters are sticking down to the board. And you want to just go nice and slow. Okay, now this, I'm just using a sponge brush, and I'm going to dab it in, and I don't want too much paint. We're just going to do nice thin coats across. Nice thin even coats. You don't want to lay it on real thick or it could seep under your vinyl. So it might take a few coats, but just do nice thin ones. So this layer is nice and dry. I'm going to do one last layer. And I'm just getting a little bit of paint on my brush and dabbing it in. We don't want to use too much paint so it seeps through, but we want to get enough to coat it. So this will be our last layer, and we'll let that dry really good. And then we'll peel off our stencil. All right, so our paint is nice and dry, and we are ready to peel off our vinyl. So this is my favorite part. It's like the final reveal. So we are just going to slowly peel this up. Woohoo! All right, you can see we have nice crisp lines. I'm going to take my knife and pop out the middles of the letters and the rest of the little things. And I'm just being really careful not to go underneath the paint, just getting the little edge of the vinyl up. Okay, so now our stenciled sign is all done. We have nice crisp lines, even these little tiny ones. So it's all in painting technique and weeding technique. So if you guys enjoyed this, give us a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, we love to read them, so leave them down below, and have a great day. Thanks.